हो. Good morning. Today we are going to start the next lesson, slope and deflection. All of you know that whenever any horizontal member of a structure, or you can see it as a machine, okay, normally we consider it as a beam. When it is subjected to some lateral loading, here because of the elasticity of that beam material, here the beam will get deflect. Okay, this is very exaggerated deflection. Here in actual practice also, if you observe this beam, okay, it is deflected because of the lateral loading. But that deflection is within permissible limit. Okay, as per some IS standards here, that deflection is permissible. But if the deflection goes beyond that permissible limit, okay, we can consider it as a failure of the beam. Similarly, in mechanical component also, here, if you consider a shaft, here, on the shaft, some mountings are there, like a gears and pulleys. Because of that loading of the gears and pulleys and because of some external loading acting on that, the shaft may also get deflect. And when such type of shaft get deflect, and shaft is a rotating element of the machine, and when such type of deflected shaft rotates here, so at a higher speed, because of the centrifugal force, the deflection is again increased. And when the deflection increases here, again the centrifugal force increases, because the centrifugal force is m omega square r. Okay, so as the omega increases, the centrifugal force increases. As the centrifugal force increases, here the vibration, the component starts vibrating. Okay, so in that case also, the deflection should be within permissible limit. Okay, now in this lesson we have to study how to calculate that deflection. What is the significance of that deflection, and how to ignore that deflection and all that things. That is the next part here in the design part. Okay, so in strength of a trail we are going to study only how to calculate the slope and the deflection of a beam. Okay, I told you that what is the importance of that. Now, to calculate that slope and deflection, here number of methods are there. Okay, suppose this is the original beam. Because of this loading P1 and P2, here the beam get deflect. Here this dotted line which is shown here is the deflection of that beam. Okay, from this initial position, suppose this point is A, after deflection, this is the position of that A dash. So this A to A dash is the deflection at this point A. Let's denote it as a Y1. Yeah, okay, and if this is the point B and this is the B dash, so let this is Y2. So this Y1 and Y2 are the deflection. Okay, and this curve here, actually it is a neutral layer. Okay, after bending here, the curve obtained by that beam is known as the elastic curve. It is known as elastic curve. Okay. Now, for this elastic curve at point A, if I draw the tangent to this curve, so the angle made by that tangent with horizontal gives you the slope of that curve. Okay, so we have to calculate the slope and deflection here at the different point of the beam. To calculate that slope and deflection, number of methods are there. But in strength of material, we are going to learn only two different methods. One is the double integration method. And second one is Macaulay's method. These are the two important methods we are going to learn in strength of material to calculate the slope and deflection. Out of that, this Macaulay's method is very versatile and important, which is again derived from the double integration method only. Okay, so this Macaulay's method is very important. But for civil student, I already told you that there are number of methods to calculate the slope and deflection. Altogether, there is an energy method, there is a virtual work method, there is a unit load method. Here there is a Maxwell reciprocal theorem. Yeah, these are some of the methods with the help of which also we can calculate the slope and deflection. For civil students, all that other methods you are going to learn here in the structural analysis subject. Okay, in strength of material, you have to focus only on these two methods. Okay, and that other methods, unit load method and virtual work method and this Maxwell reciprocal theorem or energy method, all that methods are also not that difficult. Okay, but these are the elementary. So in strength of material, here we are going to learn this. Here the civil students will learn remaining topics in strength of structural analysis subject. Okay, so let's start with this double integration method. I will just introduce you about the double integration method. I'll tell you something about the double integration method, and then we'll shift to the Macaulay's method. If possible, today only we are going to finish this both. Okay. Now, in first one, in double integration method, here what we have to do? This double integration method is little bit tedious method, not that suitable for the when the complex loading is there. Okay, but basic concept I am going to explain you for the double integration method. If you consider a simply supported beam, let's consider a simply supported beam which carries some point load. Let this is a simply supported beam AB. Let's consider some point loads are acting on this P1 and P2, and because of this point load, this beam gets deflect. Let this point is C come to this C dash and D deflected to the D dash. So this is YC and this is YD. YC and YD denote the deflection of the beam at point C and D. This is known as an elastic curve. Now, if I consider this vertical deflection is Y and this horizontal distance as X, okay, so I can write down the equation of this elastic curve. Okay, here, and the differential equation for the elastic curve, equation of elastic curve is given by EI. E is the modulus of elasticity for that beam material. I is the modulus of inertia about the neutral axis for this cross section into d2y by dx square, which is equal to m. M is the bending moment. Okay, so this difference, this is the equation of this elastic curve in terms of bending moment and the modulus of elasticity. Okay, actually this is the pure mathematical part, how we can write down this equation of the elastic curve. Okay, since due to this pandemic and online classes here, we got a very less time. Okay, so you just refer any book, here you will get this equation. I am not going to derive it here. Okay, if you have any doubt in that derivation, here you can forward that your doubt to me. But this is a purely mathematical part to get this equation of this elastic curve. So it is EI into d2y by dx square equal to m. Y is the vertical deflection, x is the horizontal distance here from point A, normally from left support. Okay, so it is given that EI into d2y by dx square equal to m. M is the bending moment. So this is known as the elastic curve. Now, if I integrate this equation, here this is the differential equation of the elastic curve. Remember, this is a basic equation which we are going to use for the Macaulay's method also. Now, if I integrate this equation, I will get EI into dy by dx equal to integration of this m. Okay, here that equation also we have to integrate. Okay. Means here you will get dy by dx is equal to this integration of m upon ei. Yeah, and this dy by dx here gives you the slope of this equation. Now this will here also this will get as a dy by dx as some another function of x if you simplify this. Okay, so this dy by dx अगर ये differential equation को integrate किया तो you will get the equation of the slope. Here this gives you, suppose if I say that this as the equation number 1, this as the equation number 2. So this equation 2 here represent the equation of slope. Here, so this dy by dx represent the slope of this curve. If you want to find out the slope at point C here, and if you consider A as the origin, left support or left end as the origin here, and if this AC distance is 2 meter, that is x equal to 2 meter, if you substitute x equal to 2 meter here, you will get the deflection. Sorry, I made a mistake. If you substitute x equal to 2 meter in this equation, you will get the slope. This is the slope and not the deflection. Okay, so this equation is the equation of slope. Here ये differential equation को आपको integrate करने का है, you will get the equation of slope. Now if I again integrate this equation 2, if you again integrate this equation 2, here you will get y as some another function of x. Here, and this equation 3 uses the equation of the deflection. Okay, if you integrate the equation elastic differential equation of the elastic curve once, you will get the equation of the slope. If you again integrate, you will get the equation of deflection here. And don't forget, there will be the constant of integration also. Yeah, there will be some constant of integration also. It is c1x plus c2. Okay, these are the constant of integration, and you have to get that constant of integration by using the boundary condition for this beam. Here, all of you know that the boundary conditions are nothing but the known values of the x and y, are known values of the slope, this x and the slope. Okay, how to calculate that, how to consider that boundary condition, that I will tell you later. But you have to consider the boundary conditions here to calculate that constant of integration. Okay, so I'll consider one simple example, and I will show you how we can calculate the slope and deflection here by using the double integration method. Okay, let's consider. Now in this double integration method, here the drawback of this method, here double integration method, is that we can use this double integration method only when a continuous loading is there. Okay, it's only when single point load is there, or when UDL is there. Okay, but when the load structure is somewhat complex, here even if you consider here two different point loads and one UDL, yeah, then this double integration method becomes very tedious. In such cases, here when 2 point load and one UDL is there, here you have to, what you have to do, if I want to calculate the slope at point or deflection at point A, yeah, then you have to do the same sum 3 times here to find out the slope, deflection at point A because of the point load, at point A. Okay, then you have to find out the deflection at point A because of the point load at point B, and then you have to find out the deflection at point A here because of the UDL. Here 3 times you have to use this double integration method here, and then by using the principle of superposition, okay, the total deflection at point A is equal to the deflection at point A because of the load P1, deflection at point A because of the load P2, and deflection at point A because of the UDL, and that you have to add. So it becomes very lengthy sum. Okay, and that's why even this load structure is not that complex. Okay, to avoid this, here we are going to use the Macaulay's method. Okay, here same sum you need to solve it 3 times in double integration method. Okay, to avoid this difficulty, here we are going to use the Macaulay's method. Macaulay is one scientist. He slightly modified this double integration method. Okay, So according to the Macaulay method, if you solve the sum, here instead of writing the bending moment equation for each load separately, here Macaulay gives you some procedure. According to that, if we write the single equation of the bending moment here for the entire beam. Now for this, suppose if I consider this, the bending moment equation from O to A is different. Okay, ये जो bending moment का equation लिखने का है, so from O to A is different, from for A to B different, B to C bending moment equation is different. Okay, so Macaulay suggested one method in which we can write a single equation which will be valid here for the entire beam. Okay, here he suggested one method. If you follow this method, here how to write down the single bending moment equation for the entire beam here, and then the procedure is same. There also we have to integrate it twice. Okay, now I'll show you one simple example how we can calculate the slope and deflection by using the double integration method. Okay, now this becomes a very lengthy sum. So I'm going to consider a simple sum. To calculate the slope and deflection, let's consider a simply supported beam carrying the UDL over the entire span. The intensity of the UDL is W and let the span is L. This point is A, this point is B. Here this is RA, this is RB. For this beam, we have to calculate the slope and deflection. Okay, we have to calculate the maximum deflection. Now because of this load, it will deflect like this. So we have to calculate the maximum deflection as well as we have to calculate the slope. Okay, now let's first calculate the RA and RB. If the intensity is W and the length is L, here then RA will be WL by 2 and RB will also be WL by 2. Okay, I have considered the simple case. Okay, now let's write down the general differential equation for this. Okay, let's write down the general differential equation for this. Let's consider a section at a distance of x from A. Let's consider A as the origin. Let's say it as the origin. Okay, so this section is at a distance of x from O. Now we know that the general differential equation of this elastic curve is EI into d2y by dx square equal to m. M is the equation of the bending moment. Yeah. So let's write down the general equation of the bending moment. So it is EI into d2y by dx square is equal to this bending moment equation at section xx. Yeah. So what will be this bending moment equation? So algebraic summation of the moment of all forces on any one side, normal general bending moment equation we have to write. Okay, so if I consider the forces on left hand side, so this RA produces the sagging bending moment, so its moment is WL by 2 into x, force into distance. Okay, this is the moment produced by this RA. Then moment produced by this much UDL. Now it is producing the hogging bending moment, so minus. So this W into x. W into x is the equivalent point load which will act at the midpoint. So it is into x by 2. Here, so it is EI into d2y by dx square is equal to WL upon 2 into x minus W by 2 into x square. This is the general equation of the bending moment which I have written. This equation is valid from A to B. If I substitute x equal to 0, I'll get the bending moment at point A. If I substitute x equal to L, I'll get the bending moment at point B. So this is the general equation of the bending moment which is valid from A to B. Okay, so let's say these are the equation number 1. Now for this one, we have to write down the equation of slope. Okay, first I will write down the equation of slope. And with the help of that equation of slope, I can calculate the slope at the different point. Okay. Now how I can get the equation of slope? to get the equation of slope, integrate this differential equation of the elastic curve. If I integrate this equation, then I will get EI into dy by dx. EI is constant into integration of d2y by dx square is dy by dx, which is equal to, here, what is the integration of this? It is WL by 2 into x square by 2 minus W by 2 into x cube by 3 plus constant of integration C1. Don't forget that constant of integration. Okay, here, so it is EI into dy by dx is equal to WL by 4x square minus W upon 6x cube plus C1. If I can calculate this constant of integration C1, here I can get the general equation of the slope. This is the general equation of the slope for this curve. Okay, and for calculation of that C1, here we are going to use the boundary conditions. Okay, here how to write down that boundary conditions I will tell you later. Here, but let's consider this as the equation number 2. So this gives you the equation of the slope. Here, and this dy by dx can be written as a theta also. Actually, for any curve, the tan theta gives you the slope. So we can write down this dy by dx equal to tan theta also. Okay, but here that angle of deflection is very, very small. And if the angle of deflection is very, very small, we can write down tan theta is equal to theta. This theta is in radians. Okay, here tan theta equal to theta we can write, provided that theta is in radians. Okay, so dy by dx equal to, we can write theta. So the equation of slope can be written as dy by dx into theta. Theta is the slope here, which is equal to WL by 4 into x square minus W by 6 into x cube plus C1. So here theta is dy by dx, okay, which is the slope in radians. Okay, not in degree. Here, once you get the answer in radians, after that you can convert it into degree. So EI into theta equal to, this gives you the equation of the slope. Say, I'm also saying this as the equation number 2 only. Only I replace this dy by dx by theta. Now to get the equation of deflection, again you have to integrate this equation. If I integrate this equation, it is EI into, now I'm integrating this equation. So EI into, this is the slope. So if I integrate that, I will get y. This y represents this deflection from original position to this deflected position. This gives you the deflection. Okay, so EI into y is equal to, it is WL by 4 into x cube by 3. So it becomes 12 minus W into x raised to power 4 upon 4. So this 6 and that 4. 6 4 are 24 plus C1x plus C2. Okay, let's say these are the equation number 3. So this is the equation of slope and this is the equation of deflection. We can use this equation of slope and deflection for this beam, entire beam A to B, provided we should know the value of this C1 and C2. And to calculate that constant integration C1 and C2, we are going to use the boundary conditions here. Okay. Now, what boundary conditions we have to use? Yeah, but remember one thing. Whenever we consider any beam which is supported by certain supports, here we assume that the supports are the rigid supports or they will not yield. Here, supports are the non-yielding support. If the supports are the non-yielding support, so at support the deflection is equal to 0. Okay, so क्या boundary condition use कर सकते हैं आप? Here which boundary conditions you can use? So at support, for simply supported beam, at support the deflection is always, you have to consider it as a 0 because we are assuming that the supports are the non-yielding support. Okay, so if we are assuming that at A and B the supports are the non-yielding supports and there is no deflection, so how can we write in terms of boundary condition? Yeah, so at point A, what I can write? At point A, that is when x equal to 0. Now I consider A itself as the origin. So what is the value of x here at point A? It is x equal to 0. So at x equal to 0, deflection is 0. Deflection is 0 means y equal to 0. This is one boundary condition. When x equal to 0, y equal to 0. Now we have two constants. So we require the two boundary conditions, isn't it? Here, so at point A, that is when x equal to 0, y equal to 0, and at point B, means at another support, at this support B, here, that is when x equal to L. What is the value of x at point B? It is x equal to L. Okay, again y equal to 0. Okay, so by using these two boundary conditions, substitute x equal to 0 in this equation and substitute y equal to 0, you will get C2. Here, this term becomes 0, 0, 0, 0, and hence you will get C2 also equal to 0. Okay, and other term, other boundary condition at point B, that is when x equal to L, y equal to 0. If I substitute this, so this term becomes 0. Okay, so 0 equal to, I am substituting the second boundary condition. Here it is W into x equal to L. Here, so it is L raised to power 4, this cube and this one, upon 12, minus, this is W into, here L raised to power 4, upon 24. Okay, plus C1x, that is C1 into L, and C2 value is 0. Here, if I simplify this, I will get this value of C1. Okay, I'll get this value of C1, and C1 comes, if you can simplify this, here C1 will be minus WL cube upon 24. Okay, here let's simplify that, you will get that C1. Okay, it is minus WL cube upon 24. Minus WL cube upon 24. Here, just try, simplify this, you will get that C1. So by using the boundary conditions, we got this. Yeah. So make it clear what boundary conditions you have to use. Okay. For simply supported beam, listen carefully. For simply supported beam, for this deflected curve, here if I consider this as the origin, so at point A, deflection is 0. Means we can write down one condition when x equal to 0, y equal to 0, and at point B again deflection is 0, but at point B x equal to L, again y equal to 0. Okay, now here you will observe that this loading is a symmetrical loading. Okay, here, and because of symmetrical loading, this curve is also a symmetrical curve. So for this symmetrical curve, here at the midpoint only, you will get the maximum deflection. Maximum deflection will be at midpoint only, but that we can't say for a non-symmetrical curve. अगर deflection loading ऐसा है non-symmetrical है, so for non-symmetrical curve we can't say that the maximum deflection will be at the midpoint. It can be somewhere else. But here for this curve, we know that when the deflection is maximum, at that point the slope is 0. वहाँ पे tangent horizontal होगा. Okay. Yeah. So remember this thing also for y max. Here the deflection will be maximum at that point only where the slope is 0, or vice versa. Here on this curve, here the point where the slope is 0, the deflection will be maximum. Okay, so this boundary condition also we can use here because it is a symmetrical. Here means I can write at x equal to L by 2. At x equal to L by 2, the y is maximum. Here, and for that the deflection equal to 0. Here I can use this boundary condition in the equation of slope also. Here theta equal to 0 substitute karo and substitute x equal to L by 2. You will get the value of C1. Okay, that boundary condition also you can use, but this boundary condition is only for this symmetrical. Okay, for unsymmetrical you cannot use this boundary condition. So for unsymmetrical you have to go for this only. Here, then if I consider suppose cantilever beam, let's consider the cantilever beam, which is subjected to some UDL or point load at the extreme end or the free end. Here it will get deflect like this. This is the elastic curve after deflection. This will be the deflection at the free end. If I say this as a y, then this is the YB, which is the deflection here at the free end. Okay. Now what will be the, now here also similar way you have to write down the boundary, equation, general equation of bending moment you have to write here and integrate it twice. Such similar kind of equations you will get. Only to calculate that constant of integration, the boundary conditions are different over here. Okay, what boundary conditions you have to write? Yes, at point A, there is a fixed support. Okay, so for this cantilever beam, the boundary conditions we can write here at point A. Since there is a support, I told you that at support the deflection is 0. So I can write at point A, that is when x equal to 0, because I am considering this point itself as origin. That is when x equal to 0, y is also equal to 0. These boundary conditions I can use. Yes, but here this is not the case when x equal to L. If the length of this beam is L, here at x equal to L, y is not equal to 0 for the cantilever beam. Okay, here at x equal to L, the y equal to YB. Then which another boundary conditions we can use here? Because by integrating it twice to get the two equations, one is slope and one is for deflection, there will be the two constant of integration. And to get that two constant of integration, at least two equations are required, and we have the two equations, but to get that two constant of integration, here we need the two boundary conditions. Here one boundary conditions I have written when x equal to 0, y equal to 0. So which is the other boundary condition? Okay. So whenever there is a cantilever beam, remember at cantilever beam at this point A, here where deflection is 0, here and this is the elastic curve. So at point A, if you draw the tangent to this elastic curve, the tangent is horizontal. Means for cantilever beam or at the fixed support, not only for cantilever beam, even if suppose there is a column here whose one end is fixed and other end is free, here because of the loading it will get deflect like this. Here this we are going to study in the column and strut. Here one more lesson is there. So at this point here the tangent to this deflected curve is the straight line. Okay, means here the slope is 0 for this beam. Okay, so that boundary condition you can use here. So at point A, that is when x equal to 0, their theta is also equal to 0. This is not the case over here. Here for simply supported beam, listen carefully. For simply supported beam, in fact, here at the support where the deflection is 0, at this point, in fact, the slope is maximum. This slope maximum रहता है यहाँ पे. Okay. Whereas for cantilever beam, here at the fixed support, the slope and deflection both are 0. For the cantilever beam at the fixed support, the slope and deflection both are 0. So if you know these values of the slope and deflection at fixed support, which are 0, you can use it as a boundary condition and you can solve the C1 and C2. Once you get the C1 and C2, come back to this sum now. Once you get the value of C1 and C2, here, this is the general equation of the slope, this is general equation of the deflection for this loading. Okay. Now suppose if I want to calculate the slope at A, if I want to calculate slope at A, that is I have to calculate the theta suffix A. Now A is the point, this equation now I am going to use. Yeah, to calculate the slope at point A, yeah, right, substitute the value of x. Now at point A, where itself we have considered it as an origin, so at point A, x equal to 0. So substitute x equal to 0 in this equation. Okay, so you will get this theta. So this theta at point A equal to C1 upon EI, ऐसा कुछ equation मिलेगा. C1 का value आपको ये मिल गया, कुछ तो भी लिखा था मैंने, minus WL cube upon 24. If you substitute that value of C1, here you will get the slope at point A. Okay, so this theta at point A, if I consider that C1 equal to minus WL cube upon 24. Okay, if I substitute here, it will be minus WL cube upon 24 EI. This is the slope at point A. Okay, this is the slope at point A. Here, this now, and it is in radian. It is in radian. Here, this negative sign indicates that here the beam from its original position, here at point A, it is deflected in clockwise direction. If the sign is negative, means the deflection is clockwise. Here at point B, if I draw the tangent, here then this deflected curve, the angle is in anti-clockwise direction. So यहाँ का value आपका positive आएगा. Here, so that positive sign indicate that here the deflection or rotation is in anti-clockwise direction for positive. If the answer is negative, that negative sign indicate that the rotation of the beam at that particular point is in the clockwise direction. Here, so negative clockwise, positive anti-clockwise. So you can write that slope at point A equal to WL cube upon 24 EI. This negative sign indicate that the rotation is in the clockwise direction. Understood? If you want to calculate the slope at point B, if you want to calculate the slope at point B, okay, we have to use this equation of slope only. Theta B we have to calculate. That is when x equal to L. Then x equal to L. Now, if I substitute in that equation here x equal to L, okay, so EI, I am using this equation, into theta suffix B, which is equal to, it is W into L raised to power 3. We have to substitute x equal to L in this equation, because we have to calculate the slope at point B, where x equal to L, and this is the general equation of the slope. Just substitute x equal to L, you will get the theta B. So it is L square into L cube upon 4 plus W into L cube upon 6 plus C1. Here C1 is how much? Minus WL cube upon 24. Okay, here. So if you simplify this, you will get the theta B. Here theta B will be in terms of EI. This will be the slope at point B. Okay, and it is WL cube upon 24 EI. Same answer because it is symmetrical. Okay, since it is symmetrical, so WL cube upon 24 EI. लेकिन ये answer positive आएगा. That was negative. ये positive आएगा. This positive sign indicates that at point B, here the deflection or rotation is in anti-clockwise direction, and unit is radian. Understood this here, and use the unit properly for this. If W is in, it is the intensity of the UDL for this case. If it is in Newton per meter, okay, then this L must be in meter and E must be in Newton per meter square, and I should also be in meter raised to power 4. If it is in terms of Newton per millimeter, then all other units should be also analogous to that. Okay, yes, and final unit of this slope will be in radian. Exactly by using this equation, we can calculate the deflection. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate at any intermediate point, if you want to calculate the deflection, substitute the value of x, and C1 and C2, you will get the deflection. Understood? Now, the question may ask, here find maximum deflection. Find Y max, maximum deflection. Okay, even if for a general sum, now it is a symmetrical sum, तो मुझे तो पता ही है कि maximum deflection is at a distance of L by 2, that I know. But agar, if there is a normal sum, unsymmetrical loading is there, and if you don't know exact location, where is the maximum, Y is maximum. Here, so remember one thing, whenever at a position, the Y is maximum. Here, when Y equal to Y max, at that position, theta is always equal to 0 or vice versa. Okay, so first, to calculate the Y max, you have to first locate the position or distance of that particular point where the Y is Y max, and by substituting that here, you will get the Y max. It is just similar to the application of derivative. अगर ये मैं बोलता हूँ कि एक जनरल इक्वेशन है, here find out the maximum value of Y, आप क्या करते हैं, इसको डिफरेंशिएट करते हैं and equate it with 0, you will get the value of x for maximization. Here, and if you substitute that value of x in this equation, you will get the Y max. Understood? But when you will differentiate it to equate it with 0, here you will get dy by dx, which we are equating with 0. But what is dy by dx? It is nothing but theta. Okay, so that only condition I have written here. So for Y max, the theta is equal to 0. So remember one thing, for any deflected value for the simply supported beam, cantilever के लिए नहीं, here for simply supported beam, here for the maximum deflection, the slope is always equal to 0. So to locate the position where the slope is 0, sorry, to locate the equation, to locate the position where the deflection is maximum, I will equate the equation of slope with 0. Because for y max theta equal to 0. So equate this equation with 0. अगर आपने 0 के साथ equate किया, because theta is equal to 0. Okay, so if you equate it with 0, if you simplify this, you will get x. Directly use the solve function. Okay, you will get this x, and this is the position where the theta is 0 and y is y max. If you substitute this value of x in this equation, here y becomes y max. In this way, you will get the maximum deflection. Okay, same concept you have to use in Macaulay's method also. Only in Macaulay's method, the procedure to write this general equation of the bending moment is different. Yeah, and there is a small change in integration that I will tell you later. Okay, so any difficulty in double integration method? Now, if now I have considered a single simply supported beam carrying the UDL, but if there is a simply supported beam carrying the point load, simply supported beam carrying the UDL or the entire span, let it is W or the length of L meter, and let here there is one point load. Let it is P1, which is at a distance of A from left support, and let this remaining distance is B. Okay. Now, agar such type of question is there, and here if you want to calculate the slope and deflection at point C, the beam will get deflect like this. If I want to calculate the slope and deflection at point C here, then how to do that? Yeah. So here, think the bending moment equation, what we are writing, EI into d2y by dx square. This is the differential equation here, and this m is the general equation of the bending moment. Now, this general equation of the bending moment is different from A to C and different from C to B. It is not continuous. Okay. Then in such cases, here, if you want to use the double integration method, you have to use the principle of superposition to find out the slope and deflection. Okay, and what is that principle of superposition? For example, if I want to calculate the deflection at point C, here, then calculate the deflection at point C due to point load. Then second case, calculate the deflection at point C due to UDL and add them algebraically to get the deflection at point C. This is the resultant deflection at point C. Okay, मतलब ये जो sum है, ये पूरा solve करना ही पड़ेगा आपको for UDL. And then again take the second case here when only point load is there, again solve similar way, only equation of the bending moment will be different. Okay, write it from P1 and then calculate the deflection at point C because of the UDL and deflection at point C because of the point load, and add them, you will get the resultant displacement or resultant deflection at point C. So that method becomes very lengthy. Okay. So, to avoid this, here, Macaulay suggested one method here, and that method itself is known as the Macaulay's method. Okay, so we'll continue with the Macaulay's method now. Okay, any doubt? I suggested here go through any book here or Google it, and remember the standard formulas for the slope and deflection. Here for the simply supported beam carrying the point load at the center, simply supported beam carrying the UDL. Okay, so if I ask you for simply supported beam, what is the maximum deflection? ये तो आपको immediately आना चाहिए कि it is WLQ upon 48 EI or something like that. Okay, for the simply supported beam carrying the UDL or carrying the point load, how much is the maximum deflection? Okay, वो formula आपको immediately आना चाहिए. In oral, the examiner may ask you that question. For simply supported beam, if it carries the point load at the middle, what will be the maximum deflection? Or for cantilever beam, here whose length is L, here what will be the deflection at the free end? Okay, so go through any book and just remember this formula. Here actually you can derive that formula either by using the double integration method or even by Macaulay's method also. Okay. So now I'm going to explain you here. The next one is the Macaulay's method. Okay. Only 5 minutes are left. So we'll continue that Macaulay's method tomorrow. Okay, I will stop here for the day. If you have any doubt, you can ask. The second important thing, because of the KT exam, which is right now going on, here most of the students are not able to join the lecture. Yeah, ask them, or some of from your class, those who are present right now, for them also, for another day they may have the exam. So for such student, here this recording I am going to upload on the classroom. Here today itself, I am for last 2 days recording I am not yet uploaded, but today itself I am going to upload that last 2 days recording, as well as 2 days recording also I will upload today itself. So those who are absent because of the KT exam or for any reason, they can watch that, because we cannot wait to complete the or the KT exam. Okay. For mechanical student, after today's lecture, 5 hours are required to complete the syllabus for mechanical, and for civil, here 6 to 7 hours are required, or 7 hours. 7 hours are required to finish the syllabus. 2 hours or more. Here one is for direct and bending stresses, and one lecture is the SFD BMD for the frames. Okay, here 5 hours for mechanical, 7 hours for civil. For civil, 3 topics are different than mechanical. In fact, 3 topics are more than mechanical. Okay, for mechanical, syllabus is less, for civil, syllabus is more. Which are the 3 topics which are more for the civil? The first topic is SFD, BMD, and axial force diagram for frames. We have studied it for the beam. Beam is a horizontal member of a structure. Okay. For civil, you have to learn shear force, bending moment, and axial force diagram for the frames. Second lesson is direct and bending stresses. It is a combined stresses. Combined stresses. Direct and bending combined stresses. This part is not mentioned in the syllabus of mechanical, but it is given in the syllabus of civil, combined stresses. Okay, but I suggested last lecture में ही मैंने suggest किया था कि for mechanical student also this topic is important, and just as a curiosity you can observe that video, okay, to increase your knowledge. And third part here for the civil is the different theorem, Maxwell reciprocal theorem, here then Bette's theorem. These are some of the theorems here which are related to the structural engineering. So just theorems are there. Only 2 hours duration is given for that. Okay, so only theorems are there. These 2 topics are more important: SFD, BMD, and AFD for frames and combined stresses. Here theorem nahi kiya, it is just a theoretical topic. Once if you read it, here you will get the idea. Okay, or even if you drop this for strength of material, you can cover it in structural analysis, because the application of that principles here you are going to learn in structural analysis. Here I don't know why that syllabus is included in strength of material, but or mechanics of solids for civil, but application of these principles here, Bette's theorem, Maxwell theorem, is in the structural analysis. Okay, so at that time वो revise हो जाएगा. Mechanics of solids में ये नहीं किया तो वो भी चलेगा. But these 2 topics are important. इस पे sums आ सकता है for civil. SFD, BMD for frames and combined stresses. Here, so these 2 topics I am going to cover in extra 2 hours. Okay, so after today, 5 hours are required to finish the syllabus. If possible, today itself in the afternoon or in the evening, I will cover up in one topic. I'll record the lecture and I will upload it on the classroom. Okay, need not necessary that you students should be present for that lecture. Okay, but for a regular lecture which is at 9:30, here the attendance is mandatory. Okay, thank you. Write your name and roll number in the chat box. For yesterday's strain energy, I told you to solve few questions as a homework, question number 15 and 17, and it was not included in that question bank. I forgot to click that photo, but today I have sent you the revised question bank in which that question number 15 and 17 are included. Clear? So try to solve that. That some number 15 and 17 are based on the strain energy stored because of the twisting moment or the torsion. Okay, try that. Thank you.